You are listening to Kaio Conversations, a podcast about anything and everything that matters to Chi Omegas.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to another episode of our podcast. Thank you for joining us. I'm Leslie Harrington, CEO for Chi Omega, and today we are excited to be talking with the extremely talented and creative Sister Mary Hollis Huddleston, an initiate of the Rho Epsilon chapter at Texas Christian University. Mary is a Nashville native, and she's an author, entrepreneur, and speaker. She's an absolute expert in events, design, and lifestyle, and co-founded the event rental company Please Be Seated in 2014. Since its founding, Please Be Seated has grown to be the top party rental business in Nashville, with a team of over 100 employees that service events nationwide. The tremendous success of her business also set the stage for other creative pursuits in the entertainment space, and in 2018, Mary started Mrs. Southern Social, a lifestyle platform about modern entertaining where it's okay to delegate. In fact, the tagline reads, "Southern charm without lifting an arm." Mrs. Southern Social has collaborated with several major brands, including Lilly Pulitzer, Draper James, Southern Living, and more. Mary has also authored 2 books, which explore the funny, over-the-top world of Southern weddings. And in her spare time, Mary also serves the Family Council at Cheekwood Museum, and she is a dedicated wife and mother. So, Sister Mary, welcome to Kaio Conversations. Thanks for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. Hooty hoo.
Hooty hoo. It is our honor. And I kind of have this feeling that Chi Omega recruitment may have inspired your party style. So tell us, how else has Chi Omega helped inspire you?
I think mostly probably from the women, especially the women who were in my chapter. They're still very dear friends, but I graduated with a very motivated class of ladies, whether they entered into the field of politics, music, arts and science, whatever it was. Everyone was very self-motivated, and that's contagious. And it definitely helped, launch me into my future.
You surround yourself by doers and achievers that we like to call ourselves in Chi Omega. That's what happens. It's kind of contagious, right?
Absolutely. And I swear, every time I meet a woman that's like super inspirational, very, very successful, I always ask, were you in a sorority? And they're always Chi Omega.
Always. Goes without saying almost. You can sense it.
That's right.
Well, I want to talk about your business. Please be seated a little bit. Tell us about the conversations leading up to you starting the business. At what point did you decide to get serious about it, and what was your initial vision?
Sure. Well, I joke that I fell into my career initially. I graduated TCU and moved to Dallas, as everyone does. And it's a long story, but I ended up working for a wedding planner back in the day when wedding planning was really not as popular as it is today. And one thing led to another. I was very fortunate in my timing and was part of an amazing company where I learned a lot. And fast forward, I moved to Nashville when my husband and I decided to start a family, because while Dallas is very fun, I'm from Nashville. We wanted kind of a more small town vibe, although that's changing dramatically here in Nashville. But long story long, I was planning a few weddings on my own here in Nashville and realized there were no high-end party rentals. And the money's here, the desire is here, but Nashville it's a little slower in the sense of we're tracking behind cities like Atlanta, certainly California, New York, and Dallas. And so I thought, well, you know what? These people would love these, the clients here would love access to the rentals that I had access to in Dallas. And I said, let's just kind of start this as my side hustle. And my side hustle has become much more than that. And we're very fortunate, but we have now one of the largest party rental company in Nashville. And a lot of it also is timing and luck.
And, it seems like so many things aligned, and there was probably a lot of luck involved for you. But what would you tell, some of our collegiate members who might be listening or watching today? What's the best piece of advice you could pass along to our sisters that are thinking about starting their own business?
Absolutely. I get asked all the time, like, when is the best time? There's never a good time. When I was starting Please Be Seated, and we had no idea how quickly it was going to expand, because we really brought new items to market that didn't exist at all. Stage fronts, specialty dining chairs, and now we do everything. But our focus was really just this jewel box collection of high-end rentals, and it didn't exist anywhere. So we had no competition. But getting back to your question, at the time I had a 1-year-old, and I was, we were already thinking about having our next child. And so I think a lot of women would think, okay, that's the worst time to start a business, but there's never going to be a good time. And you really just have to jump in and trust yourself. And if you're starting a company, you have to be all in. You really cannot delegate that much in the beginning, but then as soon as you can delegate, that's how you grow your business, because you can only do so much, especially as a woman with children.
True. And so when you say delegate, are you delegating the business pieces to other coworkers or staff that you hire, or to your personal responsibilities to family and other people around you in your network?
It's both. And this kind of answers the question of like, how can you do it all? You can't do it all. You can have it all, but you're never going to be 100% at your career and in your family life. And so something's always got to give. That's what I say. And there are times where my business needs me more. So sometimes I am delegating more to my staff at work. It was a big deal for me to hand off to a sales manager. A lot of my initial clients, I was worried that, they really wanted to be with me, but I knew that if we wanted to grow the business, and I didn't want to have to answer every phone call because I'm really enjoying this phase of life with my kids. So I'm delegating a lot more at work, but I can now. So you just have to kind of yin and yang, but it is okay to ask for help. And there are going to be seasons of life where your family needs you more and where your business needs you more. And you just have to make the best call that you can. And sometimes you get it wrong.
Well, that's important. I was hoping you would say that. Sometimes you get it wrong. How do you balance the need that I think probably all women entrepreneurs have to control and trust to delegate it? Have you ever struggled with that at all?
I struggle with it every single day. I am a control freak. And, I think my husband and I always say, slow to hire, quick to fire. You really have to find the right people. It's okay if it takes time. My last assistant with Mrs. Southern Social, I actually called her my production manager. She helped me land the deal with Dillard's. She helped me land multiple publications with Southern Living, because she was basically the same person that I was. We had the same level of taste. We operated the same. But she never wanted to be in front of the camera, and I love being in front of the camera. So we played off of each other's strengths and weaknesses, but it took me years to find her. And I had other people helping in between, but I don't think I really grew the way that I did the past few years. I didn't do that until I found Alex.
I love that. Slow to hire, quick to fire. So you got to make it right.
And then hopefully you never have to fire someone, because that's the worst. But if you're hiring the right person, the goal would be that they stay with you until, honestly, we've been very fortunate. Most of our employees with Please Be Seated or with Mrs. Southern Social have left because they've had children, they've moved cities. It's not been because we haven't had a good partnership.
Well, that's a high compliment to you and your leadership, I know. In one of your posts on Mrs. Southern Social, you said the word of the year is fruit, because you spent lots of times planting lots of seeds. I feel certain pomegranates were somewhere in the mix there. But what seeds, like real and figurative, have you been planting now for your future?
That's a great question. I think especially as women, we have trouble slowing down and really enjoying everything that we've done. And Alex and I kind of hit this point, I guess either last year or the year before, where book one, I guess a few years ago, book one was coming out. I had my first print publication with Southern Living. Dillard's, we just signed with Dillard's to do a massive launch. And so we weren't really able to celebrate anything or really like soak in these amazing things that have happened, because we were looking to the next thing. And I don't think there's anything wrong with looking to the next thing, but I was feeling empty, and I was like, why am I just feeling so empty about all these things that are happening? And it's because I wasn't letting it soak in and really enjoying the moment. And so you had asked about fruit. I always want to think about the next thing. It's impossible not to. So what I hope to do in my career now is to always be thinking about the next, like what working smarter, not harder for me. That's to answer your question specifically for me. I'm wanting to take fewer collaborations, but that are more impactful or maybe on a larger scale. And so I'm trying to I'm not signing deals that are much smaller, that are going to take up as much of my time, so that I'm freeing myself up to make those bigger pitches, because that takes me. I can't delegate that. it's certainly not the creative piece to my business. That's all on me.
Well, it sounds like you're really trying to have moments to savor the fruit and be more intentional about the next fruit, so that you can free yourself up to do what matters to you most. I like that.
But I've only learned that the hard way. I mean, I'm almost 40, and I spent 3 years. I joke that I was like, the Lord has opened so many doors, but if he opened one more door last year, he was going to have to drag me through kicking and screaming. And I think I had like a panic attack. I've never in my life had a panic attack. I'm a high energy person. I was a wedding planner. Very little stresses me out, but it forced me when I went to the doctor. I was like, there has to be COVID. This has to be this. And she said, no, your body is shutting down. Like, you have to stop. And so that's when I realized, okay, you're right. Like, my body was forcing me, whether or not I wanted to stop and smell the roses.
Right. That's a wake-up call for sure.
It was.
Well, Mary, I want to take a minute to congratulate you on the recent publication of your second novel, Piece of Cake. It's been called the perfect summer read. Without spoiling it entirely, can you give us an example of some of the life lessons in that book?
Absolutely. Obviously, the book is meant to be a fun read. It's chick lit. It's larger than life. It's still just like the first book. Tells stories of these crazy weddings and the shenanigans that were influenced from my career as being a wedding planner to some crazy weddings in Dallas, as you can imagine, and all over the country, really. But Asher and I were having, when we were writing this second novel, it was around the time that the cancel culture phenomenon was really going on. And we both have young children, and we talk all the time about being just the concern that we have that our children are not going to be able to recover, or that they're going to get canceled from some mistake that they make in their lives, because they're living their lives on social media. I mean, our children are young, so not right now, but it's just a very different environment than when we grew up in. And I'm not talking about like murdering somebody, but just small things. And so when we were writing book 2, we decided to make our protagonist in the second novel the antagonist from the first novel, and really to talk about her redemption story, and that a big mistake, well, actually a choice that she makes that is a poor choice, does not have to dictate the outcome of her life, and that you can change, and that there can be redemption. And so we felt that was a really important message for our generation, because we're growing up with kids that sadly, sometimes their mistakes may haunt them well into their adult life.
Yes. And I see that just in my own business with sorority. These women are developing, they're maturing, they do make mistakes. Unlike you and I, it is on social media oftentimes. And I think it's wonderful to be able to see how you can grow from a mistake and change how you behave and how you develop. And that's part of becoming a better person. So thank you for bringing that to life.
Of course.
I have admired you talking about everything that you are doing between party planning and all your design collabs and writing 2 books and being a wife and a mother. You seem to have everything very synchronized, and you're also very self-deprecating. So you're like, oh no, I'm not always this way, but you must have now some really good organization secrets. Can you share any with us?
Oh my goodness. Sometimes I feel like I'm a hot mess. Yeah, we run a pretty tight ship at home. I would say, work is very unpredictable, and obviously children are unpredictable, but my husband and I share a calendar. I plan far in advance with the kids. Thankfully now schools and activities are giving us their schedules far in advance. So all that to say, I think if you can keep your home life organized, it allows you to pivot more in your work life. And sure, there's going to be things that come up, but like I said, the past 2 years were really crazy. And my children the other day, Georgia, my 10-year-old, actually said to me, Mom, it's so nice to have you cooking a meal at home. She obviously recognized that we were eating out quite a bit, or I was door dashing or picking up food, but that was the season of life. And I don't regret it, because my kids, I talk to them often about like why mommy's working. They see me hustle. Georgia's a hustler now. She already wants to start her own skincare line, and I'm proud of that. So while she may have missed the meals, and she's recognizing that now, she was learning from other things. And so, you just have to try to stay organized in whatever area of life you can. And I'm fortunate now that with Please Be Seated, it's really steering its own ship. And I would not have started Mrs. Southern Social if Please Be Seated had needed me to have as active of a role as I had in the beginning. So not taking on too much. I know this is hard because it kind of goes against what I said, but say no. I don't get involved in my kids' school at all. I give them a big check every year. I feel like I should be their dream parent. I let them run it, but I'm not sitting on the PTA. I'm not doing any of that because that would push me over the edge.
That's right. You got to know what you have time for, prioritize what makes the most sense for you and your family. And man, kids are so honest. They're a great barometer for how you're performing in life. I mean, they will just, humble you with some of their comments. But you're right. She was learning other ways to hustle, even when you weren't making a home cooked meal. So thank you for trying to do everything for young women everywhere, because soon they'll be Chi Megas. And I love picking your brain. You have so many good tips, and it's so down to earth and real life. Any other life or party tips that you would like to share with Chi Mega Nation before we go?
Oh my goodness. Well, we're going into the holiday season, so I'll have a lot more holiday tips on Mrs. Southern Social. But, the one thing that I have always told clients over the years, I've done weddings that were, very low budget, and I've done multi-million-dollar weddings. Same goes for if you're having just a dinner party for 10 people in your home. If you are stressed and not having a good time, your guests are not going to have a good time because that permeates into the room. And so if you can, whatever you can do to prepare yourself, bring in help. If you're not great at cooking, I always bring in a caterer. I'm great at bartending. Just know your strengths and weaknesses, and then try to just let the rest go, because the details, especially Chios, I have a feeling we're all the same. The details that we will, sweat over, no one else is going to notice. And we set our standards so high that what we might think was like an 8 out of 10, everyone else is going to think is a 10 out of 10. So give yourself some slack and enjoy the ride, because if not, no one else is.
Well, you know what? I think that's probably the simplest piece of advice we can all take away from this conversation, is to have fun at your own party. I mean, it's like your life is your party. Have fun at your own party. People pick up on that.
Easier said than done, but it's true. Just have a cocktail yourself and have fun.
We'll end on that note, I think. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to Chi Conversations today. If you know someone, Chi Omega or not, that our sisters would like to hear from in our next broadcast, please email us at chiomega@chiomega.com. And don't forget, if you've missed any of our previous conversations, you can catch up on them all on our website at chiomega.com. And be sure to like, comment, and follow us on social media so you can be sure to join our next Chi Conversation. Thank you.